All right. Hi, everyone. When you get on, let me know. Say hello. This is my friend Tracy from Houston.
Hello.
And we're going to be doing some conversation about spiritual awakening and how I became a medium and answering your questions. So, like I said, when you get on here, say hello. A couple of things going on my page, on my Facebook page. My friend Michael and I started a group, and it's for free readings, free 20-minute readings. So if you know somebody who needs a reading, hi, is it SA? Hi, Sylvia. So if you know somebody who needs a reading, we're doing this. We'll be setting up for just a few readings every month. It's a way to give back to the community, and it's a way to honor spirit. So look on my Facebook page and get the deets there. Hey, Jess. Oh, hi, Siobhan. That's Siobhan.
Yeah, that's her.
And what else? I'm going back to Good Morning Gaza. She's in Scotland, so it's really early for her in the morning. And also, I'll be going back to Cheyenne, Wyoming, October 18th and 19th. I'll be doing readings. So if you guys are in Cheyenne, if I have anybody here, you can get your tickets here pretty soon. I'll be doing a demonstration. What else? Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Oh, good. You're joining us from YouTube. You guys, if you aren't able to see and hear very well, it's a much better connection on YouTube. And that is at Psychic Medium. Is it at Susann Bowler Psychic Medium? I think that's what it is. But go to my YouTube channel and you can hop on. Anyway. So Tracy and I had this idea that we were going to get together, and we have the greatest conversations about spirit. We have the greatest conversations about awakening, and Tracy's on her own journey of spiritual awakening and connecting to spirit and doing some readings here and there. So, yeah, we're just gonna talk about a lot of fun things. Be sure to ask your questions. I will be answering some psychic questions for you later on. So think about some things that you might want to know about. I don't know if I'm going to do mediumship yet. We'll just see how the jam goes. But hello, Simon. It's good to see you. All right, we have 9 people. We'll wait another couple minutes. So Tracy, hi, Nicole.
Hi.
So Tracy, tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I am based out of Texas, here in lovely Houston. I recently started working independently to just kind of create a foundation basis with the media company. I chose the name See and Create because I've just noticed, like, in everything that I've done in my past, I've had a role, and pretty extensive one, corporate, small business, you name it, and now independently. And the whole time, I really did enjoy finding those moments of creating opportunity outside of what the norm was. And so the more that I kind of just really started to focus on that and was able to get my hands a little bit more dirty on the small business side, that kind of is what led me to like this kind of awakening path of like, oh wow, me, okay, so these ideas, okay, now we're, just kind of evolving. So we're putting the passion of creating and then applying that towards what I really love. And it's like, okay, it's just time to do this full time. We can leave the accounting to others who do it very well. And so, at this point, it's just really about finding the right people who I want to work with that have an extensive background being in the music industry and as a promoter. And while I worked with really amazing artists and performers, I just kind of want to really work with the people who I love, who I resonate with, who have a story, who heal, metaphysical, talents, healers, of all kinds of nature. So, and I still work with, friends who are artists and who are promoters in the industry, and very much found a presence in the beauty industry as well. And that has kind of tied to my timeline of me and spirit, what I've been able to find out, that beauty was always going to be a part of the path. So it was nice that I found that breadcrumb in life too.
Yeah.
So
And then
yeah.
isn't it kind of funny too how we're kind of always we're being kind of spirit led, like your story is so spirit led that we have to go through these things in our lives to get to where we know we belong. Or you just know you're like, okay, that wasn't a fit for me, but boy, this feels really good. But you have to go through those steps, right, to get to where you belong. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. I think
Absolutely.
about that a lot. Like, well, I should have done this like 40 years ago or whatever. Well, wait,
Yeah.
I'm not that old. I'm just kidding. But it wasn't time, you know?
Right. Right. And that's, you have moments of taking those leaps of faith, and then you definitely go through periods where you're like, oh gosh, if I had just stayed, and you look back and you're like, so what I was basically trying to tell myself was, if I stayed in comfort, which there's nothing
Mm,
wrong with that,
yeah.
but deep down, if you do give that other voice, spirit, creation, that part of yourself a platform,
Mhm.
that's what's going to push you to make these changes, where people might be like, okay, what is going on? Like, you're here now, or you're there, or how does this work? But it's all you. That's how it works. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to make sense for anybody else but you.
I like that. I like that. Well, I'm glad you're here and I'm excited to talk with you tonight.
Yes,
Um,
likewise.
so hello, Melissa. Hello, Tina. Hello, Kelly from Arizona. Hi, Candace. I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Hi, Michelle. Michelle is in Houston. Um,
Oh, great.
so you guys think of your psychic questions as we talk, and we'll answer some of those after we're finished here. But yeah, so I'm going to tell my story a little bit. So I'm going to let Tracy take the lead and start asking me. I've never been interviewed before, so this should be interesting. I hope I don't say anything really stupid. So, but
No.
anyway,
I absolutely have enjoyed my time kind of taking our relationship from client, medium, to, hey, there's something here. I've kind of been looking for opportunity. I love to find opportunity, and working together in that way. And so for me, finding you through a former client was just like, I had no idea that my time with you would lead to such a transformational journey, part of the journey that I was kind of leading myself down. So I think for me, the main thing that I would love to start by tying you with is healing. What is it that you, or I guess a part in your evolution of mediumship, did you go from, wow, I'm doing this, I'm having these messages with spirits, to I'm healing. I'm doing so much more than just being this kind of like third party, if you will, involved.
right. Well, it's interesting. So I grew up in a very kind of traumatic household, right? So I always had this hypersensitivity to people being upset or people needing, I wanted to be that calm. Oh, let me fix this. Let me fix this, and having that. That's always been a compassion of mine. I've always been very compassionate, I should say. So I think that's part of my natural state, is just being compassionate and empathetic. Um, as I grew older, I found that I really enjoyed fitness, and I really enjoyed being in the gym and being with people, and so I kind of took that from joining a gym to actually running the gym to being a personal trainer, then going off on my own and personal training, and I really dealt with a lot of people that had particular needs. I always say special needs, and that's not the label I want to use, because people are like, well, I'm not really special needs, but it's people that have been recovering from accidents, or having people with MS or things like that. So I found my passion there for healing and for helping others, because I loved it when somebody would say, well, my doctor said I can't do this or I can't do that. I'm like, well, let's see if we can do it. And the interesting thing about that is, during that time, I knew the temperature of my clients when they would come in. And there would be times when, and I just psychically knew that. And I kind of, I kind of just took that for granted as part of who I am. So that somebody would come in and they might have not slept well and be like, oh, we're stretching today, or we're going to just do this today, or knowing that they're particularly down or they're struggling with something, I would just know that immediately. So it's like that nature, right? And so into mediumship, when I retired from fitness, when I retired from being a trainer, I knew that I wanted to stay in the healing industry. So I wanted to learn more about myself. So I started diving into energy healing and energy and why do I feel these things. And that was about 10 years ago or so. And it's just taken me this down this journey of, oh, now there's dead people, or now there's, I'd be doing a healing and I'd have grandmother show up and I'd say, do you know a woman that? Oh yeah, that's my grandmother. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I even kind of freaked myself out a little bit when it first started happening. But then I was like, okay, I need to know more about this. And so growing up in a kind of a Christian household, kind of a conservative household, it was not, we didn't talk about ghosts. I saw them all the time as a kid, and I was kind of, well, there's nothing there in the dark that's not there in the light, and you need to go to sleep. Your imagination is overworking. Like,
Gosh.
And so just really being in fear for the first 10 years of my life because I was seeing and hearing things that nobody else was. So doing that deep dive, into that and coupling that with the healing and the compassion that I kind of already have for people, it just kind of has naturally grown into that. And so, and I was telling you earlier, when somebody is with me, whether it's for a reading or whether it's for a healing, I want them to always feel like they're in the presence of love and safety. And that's my goal, because this is truly a sacred thing for me. It's taken me a lot of years to get to this place. And I've put a lot of effort into my own healing, my own traumas and things like that. And so it's just I want people to feel that from me. I want them to feel that sacredness and that peace. And so hearing you say, oh my gosh, I had such a profound experience, is like, that's what my goals are. That's what I want. I want people to leave my energy and say, oh wow, that was what I needed, or I really resonated with that. Now it doesn't work all the time, I'm sure. I don't click with just everybody, but that's always my goal. So
Yeah.
that's a very long answer. So
Yeah, no, I love it because it's not just, a Groupon to an engagement,
yeah.
it's so different from a lot of other ways that you can heal. It's different from working with a therapist. It's different from, reading, taking a course or reading a book. You're literally looking to put that trust into, and I love that you use the word sacred, because it is just that. You want to give it a lot of respect, what you're trying to do, and like you said too, it's not for everyone. So I truly think if this is something that you kind of feel like you're being forced into, like, it's not like it's, and that's anything really, especially in this, like, this world of just life, really. To
Yeah.
be honest,
Mhm.
listen to that, and within means, but yeah, you should really, like, look into who you're looking to work with, to talk to, and if you are not feeling it,
Mhm.
don't waste your time, because it's not going to be the right
Mhm.
fit, and
Mhm.
it's got to really resonate in different ways, and you'll know what that is. For me, it was just hearing, like, experiences from really close friends and relatives, and it was like, oh, okay, this isn't what they show you in the movies. Like, this is
Yeah.
very different. So it just then came down to finding the right person, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So is there any particular reading that just really, like, even to this day, like, you just, wow, that took me just years to kind of, like, I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm like, I don't really think about that one all the time, whether it was just like, that was the first time ever, or wow, that was a really impactful message that I could tell just kind of changed the client, and maybe you felt a little something too.
Well, I've done a lot of readings. I've done a lot of mediumship readings, and each one, each one has something to it that I walk away from. There for a while, I think the most impactful for me, um, I think was my very first person who ended their own life, and really being in that place of desperation and sadness. And I think that those are always pretty impactful. They're not as much as they were in the beginning, because now I'm like, oh, I know this feeling. I know what I'm dealing with here, and being able to separate myself from that pain or that situation. I really, tragic endings like this, children passing. Those are the kinds that stick with me. I I always know if I'm going to have a really heavy duty reading with someone, because I start to get really depressed the day before, or I start feeling sad, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know why I'm sad. I'm so sad. And then do the reading, and I'm like, oh, makes total sense. It's your nervous system kind of knows beforehand, what's happening. They're kind of getting themselves ready. They know that they're going to come and see their loved one. And so young people, ending their own lives, accidental passings, those really stick with me. Those really impact me. And it's because I am empathetic and empathic. And I want to put myself in that person's situation so that I understand them. So I ask them really to blend with me and tell me their story. And, how did this happen, and what was going on, and what can I say to your mom, to your sister, to your wife, to your children? What can I say to them that you didn't get to say? And that's a lot of pressure for me, but it's also something that is probably the most challenging. So
Yeah.
those are the ones I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And, rightfully so. Like, those scenarios do happen. I think a couple months ago when we were talking, we had a week where we both had friends of friends or directly to us where that's exactly what I mean. It's, it's life, it's here, it's around us.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and that is even something too that, maybe we are friends who are here with us today, like could easily have somebody in their family or friend of a friend who, is going through that. And, could this, be an outlet for them too? And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that could actually, that's a good question too. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, those clients that have come to you with those kinds of tragedies, do they often come from themselves, or is it like, hey, it's a client who's like, I've really like talked to my friend, conditioned them, I think they're finally to a point where they could really heal, like I see it? Or do people just come outright and seek you in times when they're experiencing those kind of tragic losses?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think, a lot of what I do is word of mouth. So someone will have a reading, and then, they'll tell a couple of friends, and then it's just kind of, that's my best advertisement, or my readings. That's it. So if they know that, and to be fair, there's a lot of different kinds of mediums out there. There's I know a medium right off the top of my head, and she'll tell you, I'm not a healer, I'm a medium, and I'll connect you. But and it always kind of, I was like, oh, that's interesting. You're a healer per se, because you're giving mediumship readings, but you're not. I get what she's saying. She's not that, squishy person. Like, I'm a Pisces, so I like to swim in my feelings all the time. So
Yeah.
that's pretty normal for me. So she's probably like a Capricorn or something, where she's like, oh, okay, bye, but also
What?
being
We're
very good
like
at what she does.
that?
So I always make fun of all the sun signs here. So but so I think it's and I've always kind of felt that spirit always brings me the right people. I always feel like there's some that, again, nothing's a mistake, nothing is a coincidence. It's already, the people that are coming to me because they need to be with me. And you know, and even the ones that aren't a good fit, right? Like I have not had too many, but I've had a few people where we sit down together and I'll start the reading and it's just like, boy, we're just not clicking. This isn't going to work. And, you know, I've had to walk away from those and, you know, refund money and that kind of thing. But most of the people with these kinds of things that happen to them, they find me, hear about me. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure. If I think about it, it's probably word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know, probably. Because, you know, when you're in that much pain and that much grief, especially when we're talking about children or losing a child, or you don't want to go 1-800-MEDIUM.
Yeah.
You don't, you want to go with somebody that, oh, I can trust this person. I have a friend that's gone to them, and, you know, so I lost my nephew when I was, I was just getting married. He was going to be my ring bearer, and he was 9 years old, and he passed away tragically and unexpectedly. And I've had to really work through reading for children from the other side, because I had to heal that trauma within me so that I could open my awareness to that. Because it was there for a while. Well, people, you know, I'd get grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles. I'd get all that. 10 minutes left in the reading. I'm like, is there anything else? Yeah, I'd like to talk to my son. He passed away when he was 12. And I'm, and so it just wasn't in my awareness. So it was like, okay, I have to heal that, you know, that trauma within me, because I think I have to accept, that does happen. And, you know, and it's not, I don't have to feel that pain, you know, and I don't have to associate with that. So, so I had to work on that, but that's why, you know, we were talking earlier about healing and about how in a spiritual awakening, or how when you're developing your psychic or mediumship gifts or abilities, whatever, people get offended when you say gift. But it's one where you have to have a very clear lens to look through. You can't have one that's fogged by prejudice or judgments, and all of those things come from your trauma.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the hard part. Yeah. So the more you heal, the better at connecting to spirit you are.
Yeah. And that's a great example of doing shadow work. It's like you're cleaning house inside yourself. You know, you'll have moments of this just rise in intuition and clarity. You feel things, you know, happening. But then, you know, like you said, I'm having these great readings where we're getting through it, and then I'm not connecting to this, you know, and that's definitely a time to say, all right, what do we got? What do we got? And it's there, you know, whether you want to see it or not. A lot of the times, you know, I mean, it's called shadow and, you know, your darkness for a reason. These aren't happy, you know, times, memories, experiences that we have. Right. Some of them we may not even be fully aware of. When we're born, we are born with already so much ancestral trauma genes. It's been, you know, proven. It's studied in colleges and campuses across, you know, the country. Like, this is proven. We are born with these genes and this DNA that has been passed down. And for just even like my experience, you know, there's definitely parts where I've recently resonated with, okay, there was definitely some time where, you know, there was like a very, very tragic separation. And to be honest, that came from our second reading about my grandma. You know,
I remember that.
Yeah, you shared with me the just violent trauma that she experienced as a young child. And, you know, so that opened me up, instead of like, gosh, why is our family like this? Why do we have these characteristics?
Why are we all bananas? Yeah.
You know, I like to say it comes from, you know, all these other places, but, you know, turn that into starting with me, and, you know, got me the help through that. But yeah, exactly. It's just, you take those little breadcrumbs, but, you know, that you got to do that work, because then it just opens up so many next doors and portals, pathways, you call it, because again, it circles back to what, you're on and your path. But yeah, no, that's
So I saw a t-shirt the other day. What did it say? Oh, I'm doing nothing, just changing my DNA. Like, and it was kind of along those
heavy.
lines of, you know what, I'm changing my DNA so my generations after me don't have to deal with this garbage, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when you're talking about the energy healing, and I've learned this a lot recently in the last couple years, is that our nervous systems hold on to stuff. So if we had a traumatic event in when we're 5, and we never had that opportunity to heal that traumatic event, it stays in our nervous system, and it becomes a pathway to other traumas.
Yes.
And it's interesting how, when we can filter through that. So think you die with all of this, right?
Yeah.
So think about that. And energetically, then we pass that on to the next generation. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. But what was I going to tell you? Oh, I don't remember. But I think that, I know. So part of mediumship, right? And so part of the mediumship that I like to do is part of that soul retrieval for people. So I've been doing this for a little while. And in my head, I had a mentor tell me, your mediumship is good, but don't forget you're an excellent soul reader. And that has echoed in my head. We were just talking about signs and talking to spirit and getting signs from spirit. And this is something that's kind of been echoing for me. So it's like, I need to put these two things together. I need to create this place where I'm also doing like soul retrieval stuff for people, but I'm also bringing in, their loved ones in spirit and bringing it together. So that's my project right now. And spiritually, that is bringing those two things together, because when we hold on to these traumatic events, and being able to like sit down and read chakras or read souls or read energy, able to kind of pick out, oh, I'm seeing like 5 years old, there was there's trauma here. Your dad left, mom left, whatever. I see that it's not completely healed yet. And I'll have people argue with me like, that never happened. No, I don't know anything about that. But then they'll call me later and go, oh my goodness, you're right. I didn't realize that was still there.
What? We do that? No.
So it's interesting because you think about that DNA, you think about handing down that trauma. And, in the olden days, especially for women and men too, I suppose, it was surviving. We're surviving. We're putting food on the table. We got to go to work. We don't have time to deal with our feelings. I think we have a luxury now in this day and age where, we can sit down and think about stuff, and we can get upset about things, and we can work things through. And a lot of our grandparents and that they never had that opportunity or that privilege really to take that dive.
Yeah.
I know mine didn't. I know mine didn't. Let's just say that. And then it probably wouldn't have been appropriate at that time either, because who talks about their feelings? How embarrassing.
Right. Right.
We just smoke and take pills. Mommy's little helpers.
Yeah, we're like, inappropriate. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's fine. It was a different time.
It was, yes. I'm sure there's still some pill poppers out there, but yeah.
Yeah. Very much so a different time. Oh, and like that's definitely something too, like, just the energy, like you're saying, it kind of, it sticks with you. It's holding on to you. That could be something too that, could be the reason people are reaching out to you. Maybe somebody has had your information for months and they just keep thinking about it. Like,
a lot of people do that.
Yes, that is,
I think I'm thinking of a guy right now. Actually, he sent me an email in June. Hey, I want to come in and see you. And I gave him 2 or 3 dates. And it didn't ever reach out to me again. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And I kind of left my mind. I forgot about it. And he sent me another message. Okay, so what time can you see me? So I sent him more dates, and I still haven't heard back from him. So I know that people they weigh this, or they think about it, or they're just not sure, but it does kind of crack me up. I know I'll eventually see him, but you know, it'll be on his terms or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But it is funny. I think, yeah. And some people just aren't ready. I had one lady lead a circle. I was doing an event here in Arvada, and she said, well, I'm going to sit, but I don't want a reading. And I said, it's not how it works. Yeah. I don't control this. Spirit controls this, and Spirit's going to come through. And if you need a reading, they're going to give you a reading. And so she said, okay, I'm leaving. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Like, but I'm not going to tell Spirit, I'm not going to talk to you, if that makes sense, you know? So, and then we, at your event, well, we had, I think that was my mom. And you're like, well, why didn't you say something? You know, because.
Yes. Oh, I don't see her on, but I'm happy to call her out if she says sign up.
But, and so, you know, here I'm trying to make this connection and like, no, I'm over here. I know I'm over here. And no, I have no clue what you're talking about. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You certainly do know what I'm talking about. And it's so funny because this happened the other day. What was it? This lady said, I said, so your grandfather was in the military, right? And she says, no. And I could hear him plain as day say, I was in the Navy. And I said, he says he's in the Navy. You know what she says? Yeah, but it was only 4 years. And I'm like,
I wasn't aware.
I said, and the reason that he's bringing that up is because you have his Navy pin. And you were just looking at it. And she goes, oh, I was. Oh my God, people. Come on. You're killing me here. You're killing me.
It's like that ego is like, no. Yeah. Susann, is it? No. And then, you know, the intuition and spirit, it's alive in us. We don't have to be, you know, past to experience it. We can experience it now. And so, yeah, there's your struggle. I'm here, but I'm not. I trust you, but I don't.
And then there's
everything, but it's none of your business.
My favorite readings are when somebody hops on and they're so excited for a reading and they're ready to heal and they're ready to talk and they're just ready to eat it up. And I just love that because that just takes our energy and just takes it right up to the top. And the readings are so amazing. The ones that I hate are the ones who talk to their friends beforehand. And you always know them because they'll get on and I'll say, okay, I have a gentleman here. I know he's a heavy smoker. Feels like he might be father to you. And he's making me feel like it's COPD or cancer here. You don't understand this? No. Okay. So is your grandfather in spirit? Yes. Did he smoke? Yeah. He didn't have cancer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So, you know, talking to spirit, it's like you're doing sign language, you're hearing and seeing and feeling, but it's not like talking to you right now. It's not like I can, you know, it's gestures and signs and feelings, and you're putting this puzzle together. And people, I don't think quite understand how difficult it is at times, especially, but when you have somebody that just gives you those one word answers, you're like, no.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'll muddle through and we'll get through it. And, you know, I'll now, you know, 10 years ago when I first started, I would have just started crying and hung up and like, I'm a terrible medium. But now I'm like, nah, the jam wasn't there. It wasn't going to happen. So I just go on to the next.
So what age would that have been when you were experiencing that, when it was very fresh for you that you were like, hey, call me. I'm, you know, Susann.
So I think I started giving professional readings, mediumship readings about 8 years ago. And I started doing astrology, tarot. Well, I've done those most of my life, but what happened was about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, my son was in high school. And he took a Snapchat of my tarot cards and he said, Mom's, you know, I don't know what he said, but so one of his friends said, oh, I want a tarot reading. And so it took off. Then I was doing it for free and his mom wanted to come and then her sister went and then it was her friend that wants to come and it just started going. And
like, don't say anything, you're going to get me in trouble. And then meanwhile.
Yeah. And then they just started giving me money. And so I was like, oh, wow. Because I would do these amazing tarot readings and even surprising myself. And I can't just leave and not pay you. So it was like $20, $30, $50. I'm like, okay, there's something here. Like I need to, again, spirit pulling on you, right? So yeah. But then mediumship was probably about eight years ago when I started doing professional readings, or, semi-professional.
Yeah. Was there more of a kind of like hesitation of, I remember as a kid what I saw, what I struggled with, or was it just like believing in yourself, making the connection that you are a healer, you are gifted?
Now that took a little while.
Okay.
So every beginning medium struggles with confidence, and especially, and I don't know why this is, but
I do.
so, well, right. But most mediums are women, and most women struggle with their issues of, how do I look? How do I sound? How do I feel? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? And men do too. I don't want to take it away from them, but it seems like women typically struggle with that a little bit more. They're more sensitive. They're more compassionate. So you look at somebody wrong. Somebody look at me wrong, and my feelings would be hurt. Of course, I'm a Pisces. That's just how I roll. But at the same time, so it's getting over that. It's developing that, again, healing those traumas of low self-esteem, of knowing that I'm not Satan, that I'm not a witch, that I am a good person, and God created me this way, and I can do this, and I wouldn't have this weirdness about me if I wasn't supposed to have it. And it's all through. So I've had a lot of people say, well, I feel like I'm sinning because I'm talking to dead people. And it's like, you know what? God created me this way, and God doesn't create junk. And I'm going to live in that light and shine my light and do, my very best to serve and to heal the dead and the living. Yeah. I will tell you this. There's usually two types of mediums. Ones that are born with some ability, and kind of maybe they poo-poo it or they bring it back or whatever. They just know they're different, right? And you just know you're different. And then there's the other ones that suffer profound grief and are driven to it, of, I need to connect with my loved one. I need to know that they're okay. And they might already have that sensitivity in them, but had never really made that adventure inward to discover that. Oh, but there's some really fantastic mediums out there that, unfortunately, that what propelled them was their own loss and their own grief. And so when you talk about mediumship, you can't talk about mediumship without healing, the healing aspects of it. Either whether you're becoming a medium or you're seeing a medium, the medium's gone through heck and high water to get to where they are. Every medium worth their salt has. I was just talking to another friend about this today. And I said, well, how long have we been working on ourselves? How long have we been, perfecting our craft? And we're still not there, and we're still working on it. And it'll be the rest of my life, really, that I'm going to be doing it. And so I think that, and then you'll hear people say, well, you can't make a medium, or you can't. I think that you can be more psychic and more intuitive and more empathetic to people and in situations, and read energy. I think everybody can do that. You have to want to do it, and you have to be really willing to work hard to get there. And that includes, being patient. Yeah. Patience is really difficult in this because, okay, I'm a medium. I want everything perfect. I want it to be spot on every time. And it's not. I'll get super cocky and I'll have like 10 amazing readings, and Spirit will go, here, have that one. And I'll fall flat on my face and I'll slam the door and I want to quit and I don't ever want to do another reading. And this is a stupid job anyway. And I suck. And then, Spirit's like, yeah, I told you, They're always bringing you back down to earth. So
keeping it humble. Yep.
And I had a mentor tell me too, don't ever get too cocky. Be really grateful all the time for what you're getting. And because that's when you lose it. You let that ego get and ego ruins everything, doesn't it? In every job.
Everything.
So yeah. But yeah, I've quit several times.
Yeah.
I have. I'm like, I'm done. I'm taking down my stupid website. It's over. Forget it. I suck.
People leave reviews. We need Susann to stay around.
It's funny though. It is. It's comical now. I don't quit as often as I used to, but
That's good. That's
yeah,
good. But I mean, you're showing a human connection to, something that, some people might not want to. Like you said, there's some mediums that are just, it's very about appearance, or it's about, just very, very different agendas versus like
yeah,
healing. We've
yeah,
had plenty of examples you shared with us today about that. So this is a very, raw side of just you as a person having, a human feeling about your job, and yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
But no, I 1,000% agree, that ego just, you have to learn how to tame it, how to conquer it, learn that it exists and it's not you, it's separate. I mean, so many variances and examples of that across the board, in different, walks of life, on TV, on shows, celebrities, movies,
hmm,
music we listen to,
yeah,
songs about just, this other side of me. And yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, the um opposite side to that, is just, convincing you that you don't belong, you shouldn't be here, just go, by, who cares. And so, very important to, just start somewhere with
yeah,
understanding what that voice is, and it's not yours. I mean, I had moments where I was, in the car driving. I mean, I did years of therapy, and I just kind of hit like waves in my life where I was like, okay, I'm done. And for me, I didn't realize at the time, and until now, when I'm really putting all those past breadcrumbs together, was when I would go on like little detox journeys, which would then lead me to, getting really big into mantras and meditations. Then all of a sudden, after that, I was like, I have to soak in a hot tub every night. Now, in reading, and what was that about? What were those paths where I really did that?
yeah,
And it was like,
yeah,
you were trying to raise
mhm,
your energy. You were trying to raise your vibration. You
yeah,
were trying to just cleanse this ego that was like, oh, we care about, what they said at work or how they said it. And it was just
hmm.
like, no. And,
And I think we're
just,
always going to have that, right?
we
Like
are, we are,
we're always going to
we are,
have that,
we really are.
and it's to the point now where I don't really watch any other mediums. It used to be I used to eat up like all the demonstrations of mediumship, and I, really hang on every word that mediums would say. And now I'm like, I have my own light, and I need to work on. I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be John Edwards. I'm not going to be a Long Island medium. I'm going to be me. And developing that is hard. It's hard to not compare yourself, but even in real life, and not mediumship, I struggled with that as a trainer. Like, oh, am I the right size? Am I fit enough? Am I, I'm size 6, so I can't eat that. I can't, I've got a persona to keep up with, and that got exhausting. So it's in everything that we kind of keep that ego alive and feeding us garbage,
Yeah.
but no. So moving on to the awakening, for me, it was just it was a sense of knowing, like I said, when I started, when my son was graduating. I have 4 children, and I basically stayed at home with them doing my work. I'd arrange it to where I was at home with them. I was like, well, what am I going to do? And so that kind of took me into, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And so there came the tarot cards, then came the oracle cards, then came all the classes. I took so many classes about spirituality and all the things, healing, Reiki, all that stuff. And it just kept, and it was ugly at times, and it was sad at times. But it was something that I kind of miss. I
Mhm.
do. Because when you're in the middle of an awakening and you're really like, hey, was that real? Show
Mhm.
me that again. The other day I got so irritated. So somebody was telling me, I need a sign from my loved one. I need a sign. I used to get signs all the time when I was awakening. And now I don't get any signs. And so after this person left, I was like, I don't get any signs anymore.
Speaking
and I
of,
said it out loud. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I need signs to know I'm all right, And so I was downstairs and I was working out and I looked at my watch and it said 333 on it. And it was my time I was on the treadmill or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's cute, but I need another 333, right? So this was in the morning. And I had forgotten about it, totally forgotten about that I'd said it. And I got busy with my day. And I sit down at the computer and turn it on 333, 333. I'm like, okay, it's you. All right. Thank you. Like, because, they heard me. And I think that you have to have faith and you have to know that we tend to push it away, that those signs, we tend to push them away because we want them so badly. So we just have to take it all.
Yeah.
Take all the signs.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's also another joke too, where, you have the cardinals and you have the hummingbirds and you have I saw a butterfly. And I was telling a friend the other day, I'm like, can't the butterfly just be a butterfly? Does it have to be, Grandma? Does it have to? Does it have to be? Why? Like, why does it? And the poor butterfly, it's like, dude, I just want to get some nectar and I'm out. Like, I'm not here to represent. You're
funny. Actually in my way. Like, I'm not following you.
And I'm teasing, but it's, you just had to think of it from the animal's perspective, right? Like, can I just be a ladybug?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to eat some aphids.
Yeah.
Anyway. But no. And I think that anybody that's experiencing this kind of, hey, I'm waking up at 2 a.m. every night, or I'm, I feel like there's more, I'm not on the right path. I say, start your spiritual journey. Start it. Just start it. Start reading cards. Start doing astrology. I studied astrology. I studied numerology. I studied tarot. I studied all the things. And I started putting things together, and I started, the chakras are what really clicked with me when I started restudying those. I was like, oh my God, I see those. Like, I found something. So that's like, you go to college to find your career, right? Or find those classes that you took. It's kind of like that. Like, oh, this is interesting, or that's interesting. I could never do astrology. It's way too heavy for me. It's too much. I'm not ever going to remember all the planets.
It is a lot.
But the chakras, I clicked right away. And so you have to find your niche, you have to find your thing. But yeah. So.
Absolutely. So what type of, I guess, did for you in your timeline of mediumship, was it hand in hand with awakening that kind of boosted that confidence in mediumship, or did that come first and then you literally started like just really having the opening? All kinds of variations exist easily.
Well, that's kind of a harder one to answer because
it sounds too like mediumship has been with you from a very early.
I was going to say, I feel like I was a medium. I mean, I can remember standing in my crib at 2 years old.
Okay, so we're going to take it back. So
yeah, and seeing things in my room. Like, I would lay in bed and I'd look at I can see it like it was yesterday, and I'd see stars on my ceiling, and I'd see things like floating around on my ceiling. And so as I got older, it got more scary, and I would see actual stuff. So that kind of paranormal mediumship has always been a part of me. I shut it down for a while when I first got married and my nephew passed away, and that was a big kind of a tragedy for me. So it kind of took me back. I had a premonition about his passing, and that really pissed me off, that I didn't quite understand that it was a premonition of his passing. And I got angry with spirit, with God. I was like, okay, you give me this little tidbits, but you don't actually tell me what it is. And so anyway, that's another story, another interview. But I think when I first started to communicate intelligently with spirit was probably when I started doing the energy healing, and I started feeling all the things, and telling people, oh my gosh, I have a gentleman here. I used to get animals all the time. I'd have dogs and cats. I even had a couple of horses at one time come and see me, and so it's hard to explain what that is. So people say, well, when they're developing their psychic abilities and their mediumship, it's one of these things where use your imagination. What does your guide look like? Think about what that guide looks like, because I'll bet you $100 that's what they really look like.
Mm-hmm.
And put yourself in a field. And when you're connecting, I'm in that field. Like, you have to have that imagination. Like, don't sit there with a blank stare and just wait for stuff to come. Like, start dreaming, start thinking, and then, oh, wow, and then you'll start getting the emotion with it. And then you'll be able to kind of, oh, this makes so much sense, and be able to let it flow through you. But as far as really opening up and giving intelligent communication, I would say it was after my awakening. And my first communication was with my own guides. Like we had said, like you had said about your experience recently of getting some signs. And I said, oh my gosh, well, mine is music. I wake up with songs in my head, and I would ask for a message, and it would be a song I hadn't heard in 30 years. And so I'd have a little journal and I'd write it down, and I'd look up the lyrics, and I'm like, oh my God, that so resonates. And it's just stuff like that, where you have to be open, and you have to have faith, and you have to know you're not crazy. You're not.
And when you say guides, because there was definitely parts for me where I was like, it would just come out of me, and I would say intuition said, and then it was like, but I said it. But so talk to me about, you just mentioned guides. Like, do you feel like it's your voice, it's you, or it very much is like?
Okay, so occasionally I'll get a strange voice, but most of the time it's my own voice in my head, and I never really hear their words. What I get is a calling card. So when my guide is near, or when I know I need to pay attention to something, I'll feel a hand on my forehead. So just right here, I'll feel like a tingling on my forehead, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I pay attention, or I could be just, and sometimes it's when I'm like down, or by myself, or just kind of in my feels. I'll get those sensations and feelings of just knowing that I'm not alone. Or, hey, it's time to do a reading. Are you nearby? And I'll feel it. And so it's more of a feeling for me than it is an actual voice. But I have heard voices of dead people, but maybe not so much guides. Like, I could say, oh, your grandfather had a really raspy voice. Oh my God, he did. Because I could hear this, So, and do I hear that, or do I just know that? I don't know, but that's how it comes. So I don't know. Did I answer your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just it. It's different for everybody. And
it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah, you have a little bit more going on behind the scenes than maybe a good amount of us do on this side of things. So I'm perfectly fine with just calling it either intuition or myself.
Right. And after time, and this is what I tell people that I'm working with too, is that know yourself enough to know the difference between what's you and what's not you. So, and the only way you do that, and people will argue with me, but it's meditation. It's sitting with yourself. It's knowing how your body works. It's knowing your heart rate. It's knowing this is me, and that's something different. And this is just a weird muscle twitch. And that, because you have to know your soul, you have to know yourself, your breathing, what you think about, and you have to separate that.
Yeah.
Because then you'll know right away. And that's honestly, people don't want to sit in meditation. They don't think they need to have it. They think it's a waste of time or whatever, or I can't do that. Let me tell you, it's worth, if you're developing your abilities, it's one of the most important things you can do.
Yes. And in this day and age, there's so many different ways where you can do that. I mean, you can have the ultimate lazy person's, way to meditation. There's an app, there's a YouTube, there's you name it. I've taken a huge interest in sound frequency, scalar energy. There's so much. Transcendental meditation exists. My husband is into that.
I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so blown away by how many people really do know about that, but haven't tried it. But I'm like, Oh, wow. Okay. So this is really a thing. It's really caught the attention of quite a few people. Yeah. And then like my dad just, listened to little tapes he used to get in the mail and read Wayne Dyer books, so
Oh, I
it,
love that.
yeah,
That's
it
my
comes,
guy.
yeah, totally. He's old school.
So am I. So I get it.
Yeah, it's you and what fits with you, sit in that
Yes.
that hot bathtub, like talk to yourself, sweat it
So,
out.
so when I first started taking little psychic classes and stuff, I took one in our neighborhood, and she still does it. And she's a wonderful lady that does it. She had told the class, she said, when I was first, developing my abilities, she said, I used to take baths with copper.
Oh.
And she said the copper is supposed to be a connection to spirit and all this stuff. So I went to the store and I got these copper balls and I put them in my bath. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, how come it's not working? I want to see dead people now. Come on. But it's
I
funny.
love
It's whatever
that.
you put your power into, right? It's whatever you put
Yeah.
it's whatever it's whatever works for you,
Yeah.
And I had another mentor tell me to get purple lights. So this little room in here was filled with purple lights, and I would sit in meditation for that. And you've heard of the violet flame or whatever. Anyway, that's another interview too. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Susan's dark rocker chick side.
we won't talk about that. That was like a 20-year phase. So
That's a paid subscription interview.
yeah, yeah, the Metallica days. Yeah, yeah, copper balls in the bath on it. Did you see that?
That's gonna be the next like bath bomb. Credit right here from this
Yeah,
interview
copper
goes to
balls.
you.
Well, so we're at an hour already. Should I take some questions? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh,
I did
absolutely.
have a couple of questions, I think, up here. This was fun though, Tracy. We have to do it again. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Barbara is asking, what is the best way to learn to read tarot? I've been very interested in learning more about it. You have
Oh,
my number,
man.
right, Barbara? I think you do. So I will be starting up a tarot class probably this fall. I'm not sure when, but you're welcome to join us as a drop-in or as to take the whole thing. Learning tarot takes a lot of patience, and it can be overwhelming, but yeah, I think you could read a book and do it. Um, you can kind of use your own intuition, which you will later on. My thing when I teach tarot is when I teach a class of tarot, I want everybody to understand the cards and their representation. And I always use the Rider-Waite deck because it's like the original, the master deck. And then after that, you get it, you get a feeling of it, you know what the pentacles are, you know what the cups are, you know what each card represents, and then expand, go to other tarot decks, go do it, use, it's the tarot reads your energy and the energy lives in the tarot. So,
Mm.
my tarot deck is right here. I just took it out of my nightstand. They sleep with me. They're in a little satin bag because I'm superstitious, but they're a part of me. So, and they're all kind of getting kind of worn out, but they know my energy and I know their energy. And so that's a big key factor with that. But also read books if you want to do it on your own. But if not, like I said, I'll be having a class. So you need to and I'd love to have you. So where do we put her? We want to hide here. Okay. My sign at the weekend was towards the end of 10K. I was struggling to finish. Looked across the street and saw a license plate with Sue's on it. Oh, that's perfect. Now, Kaza's partner, Sue's passed away, and she's kind of always been struggling with that and grief. It's a hard thing to get through, but she's developing her mediumship skills and able to connect and receive signs. So she's doing really well in
Amazing.
that. Yeah, that's cool. That's a great sign.
That is.
Let's see here. Can't wait for your tarot class. Yay! Your classes are great. Yay! Okay, you guys always say that, but then you don't sign up. So you have to sign up already. Jeez, just kidding. Jessica, I've been in a bit of funk, lots of feelings and thoughts and strange dreams. Just wondering if you feel anything surrounding me or my energy. Not off the top, but I will tell you that my good friend Jen Welty, she's the Miss Moonlight Mystic. She posts about astrology all the time, and she was talking about how this last retrograde was really horrible for everybody. So it might be something to do with the stars. But just make sure that you're really patient with yourself and really gentle with yourself, and get outside, get some exercise, like get moving, clear your thoughts. It seems like you might be kind of stuck in a thought process or thinking the same things over and over again. So maybe not dwelling on stuff. I don't know.
I love that you said get outside. I love grounding.
Yeah, it helps so
And a
much.
patch of grass.
So Robin asks, your classes are amazing. Susan Buller's I can meet him. I asked a few comments ago, but I'm so curious if my dad is reaching my son or if my son is just remembering pictures. Any thoughts or appreciated? Your father is absolutely visiting your son. So yeah, it's not just pictures. It's definitely him reaching out. Absolutely. I was wondering if you could give any guidance on it, if my mom should sell her house. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I actually feel like that might be like April. I'm hearing April. So it'll be a little bit. She's going to have some health issues here this fall, nothing big and serious, but she's going to have to get through that before you're going to be able to move her. So I hope that helps. And it doesn't feel serious. I don't want you to get freaked out. I'm not sure about the ring, Michelle, but yeah, I would do definitely an elimination diet with him. Because you're a very sensitive person, and I'm having a feeling it's probably genetic. So whatever you kind of have problems with, he's probably going to have problems with too. So. I was thinking about taking a short business course. Would I benefit from it at this time? Not right now. Wait a little bit for that. Don't not do it, but give yourself a little bit of time, because I have a feeling some other things are going to come up. They're going to demand your attention, and you're not going to be able to give it all you need. So just wait a little bit if you can. Take the next one. I have weird energy around me lately. I don't know why. Again, I think it's that retrograde, and that full moon was just bizarre. I think I cried all that stupid day. So we're just kind of getting out of that now from what my friend says. I'm not an astrologist, but she said that this next few weeks should be much easier for us. So, and sage away. Tarot classes were on the wrong night for me. Well, let me know what night works for you. Dun, 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 dun. The damn planets.
Planets.
Right. Those MFers.
Agreed.
Right. And I always felt, so I have the greatest therapist in the world, and she's very spiritual, and she reads my tarot cards when we're done. She's an actual doctor. So, we just click, and I'm like, okay, so I don't know where the frick Mars is right now, but it's really, really messing me up. I'm afraid you arrive not seeing everything on YouTube. So I am asking here also, do you see anything new for my business ventures? Not right now, but I would say probably closer to around Christmas time, or things are going to start to liven up for you. So Mars is in the microwave, right?
Just nuking.
Can you see me, Susan? I can see your picture. Did you ask me a question? Should I go back and look? There you are. Any messages from my spirit guides? Let's see. I feel like I want to tell you to not take things quite so seriously. I feel like it's maybe get out of your feels a little bit and like take some deep breaths and just kind of realize what all the good things that you have and not maybe feel so serious or so sad. It feels like you're just really kind of in your thoughts and in your feelings a lot. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Let's scroll all the way down. F Mars. Yes.
All the above.
I agree with F and Mars. Do you feel anything from me? Any messages or anything coming up? So this will be my last. Well, I'll answer Kelly's. Do you feel anything from me? Any messages or anything coming up? Moving or job? Moving is a great possibility, but I think you're going to waver back and forth. And you might end up just saying, I'm going to stay here for another whatever. But I do see like activity around that. I don't feel anything about the job just yet. I do see you traveling a little bit over the fall. So, or maybe the winter. So I don't know if that has to do with job, but I do see you like traveling. So any word? Oh, hello, Kelly. Any word on my VA benefits? Oh, the VA. I could tell you stories about the VA. So see, I got to get that prejudice out of my energy so that I can give you a spiritual reading here. So November. I just heard November. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, I'm so glad, Michelle. You're an amazing healer and you're an amazing person. Okay. All right, you guys. I think that's going to be it for me.
Yeah.
But I really super enjoyed this night with you, Tracy. And yeah, let's do it again. Maybe in a few weeks we can hop on again and think of something really fun to talk about. There's a lot to talk about.
So much.
So much.
We can get pretty weird.
Well, yeah, didn't we spend a couple hours talking about aliens the other night? So yeah.
It happened. That was a very sober conversation.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the margaritas.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you guys. And thank you, Tracy.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me come on, being a guest.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys know my number. So you can message me on Facebook or even here on YouTube or visit my website if you want to book a reading. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll see.
Holy Hair Hotness. Don't forget that one. That's a good one.
Which one?
Holy Hair Hotness. Stunning.
Oh, who said that?
Stacy.
Oh, I don't know. You think? I'm wavering with it. There's a long story behind why it is as dark as it is, but we're not going to go into that. I feel a little I scare myself when I look in the mirror. I'm like, oh my God, who's that? And then it's, but my blonde will be back. Anyway, we'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.